We have systematically smoothed over the sharp edges of human life. Birth, aging, death. We treat these major transitions as medical events or administrative hurdles. And because we lack a framework to actually process these changes, we are left with a chronic hum of existential anxiety. The ancient Egyptians viewed these moments very differently. To them, a life transition was a dangerous threshold. You couldn't just casually walk across it. You required an initiation, a deliberate process where your old self had to symbolically die before a new phase could begin. To conquer the ultimate threshold of death itself, they didn't rely on comforting stories. They engineered an immersive, physical, psychological simulator. Looking at this map of ancient Egypt, we find the holy city of Abydos situated along the Nile. Beneath the sands here lies a subterranean complex known as the Osireion, built by Pharaoh Seti I. Which raises a strange question. How exactly did physically walking down into a dark, subterranean replica of a god's tomb reprogram the human mind to defeat the fear of mortality? The ritual began with a literal descent. The initiate walked down into the earth, entering the pitch-black, 100-meter-long underground corridors of the Osireion. This was an exercise in extreme sensory deprivation. The darkness forced the initiate to forget earthly illusions and physically return to the dark, maternal matrix of the earth. Waiting in this darkness was Anubis, the conductor of the journey. He served as the messenger between the world above and the depths below, guiding the traveler toward a specific state of hope. His distinct colors reflect this role. He appears half black and half gold, marking the exact threshold where the decay of death meets the radiance of rebirth. This frightening, disorienting passage served a specific mechanical purpose. It broke down the initiate's ego and stripped away their defenses, making their mind malleable for the transformation ahead. Emerging from the corridor, the initiate stepped into the Hall of Judgment. Under the flickering light of torches, they faced an imposing tribunal of priests wearing the masks of the gods, including the ibis-headed Thoth. This papyrus scroll illustrates the justification trial. At the center of the hall stood the great scale of justice, where the soul was subjected to a strict symbolic weighing against a single feather. This feather represented Ma'at, the underlying cosmic order of the universe. This was an engineered moral reckoning. By seeing their life literally balance against the weight of a feather, the initiate received physical proof of their alignment with the laws of nature. Passing the trial meant they were no longer a flawed individual, but a personified extension of cosmic harmony. The justified initiate then entered the central hall of the Osireion, finding themselves standing before a massive, dark underground basin of water. This pool represented the original primordial sea. The initiate physically stepped down into the cold water to completely wash away their old human status. Rising directly out of the center of this water was a rectangular stone esplanade, heavily guarded by massive pink granite pillars. In Egyptian cosmology, this island represented the primordial mound. It was a physical recreation of the exact site where creation began out of the watery void, and it served as the symbolic tomb of the god Osiris. The mechanics of the ritual demanded a precise physical path. The initiate walked down the stairs into the water, waded through the primordial sea, and ascended a second set of stairs onto the central stone island. This literal physical emergence from dark water onto a stone island acted as a rehearsal for the first sunrise. By moving through this sequence, the initiate replaced the abstract idea of rebirth with a memory of physically surviving the abyss. Now dressed in fresh white linen, the reborn initiate waited in the darkness on the island. Surrounding them in the dim light were verdant, living trees, planted directly into the stone structure to symbolize repeating youth and regeneration. Then came the zenith of the initiation. The golden doors of the shrine opened, revealing the pristine, resurrected body of Osiris resting inside. The psychological impact of this visual epiphany was immediate. By witnessing the resurrected god, the initiate achieved a state of mystical union. In that moment, they saw themselves reflected in the god. They were now a luminous one. The Osireion integrated physical exhaustion, a high-stakes moral trial, and this final visual shock. This sequence was designed to overwhelm their existing worldview, leaving them with the certainty they had already passed through the gates of death and returned. Compare that realization to our modern state. We wander through a fog, quietly terrified of aging, letting ourselves be swept away by the inevitable tides of existence, without ever stopping to mark the thresholds we crossed. We do not need to build underground temples today to fix this, but the ancient ruins of the Osireion stand as a monumental reminder. When we fail to honor and deeply process the changing seasons of human life, we forfeit the profound peace of mind that comes from true transformation.